Sally's jealousy flares as Martin plots his next move. According to the Young and the Restless teasers for the week of March 31st to April 4th, Sally Spector's jealousy will rise as Martin Lawson, also known as Alan Lawson, plans his next move. Here's what YNR fans should anticipate because of Billy Abbott's dangerous actions. To begin with, it appears that Sally will respond to the revelation that Billy deceived her. Billy lied about his connection to Aristotle Dumas and the true nature of their relationship. Sally will undoubtedly feel wounded when she discovers that Billy has lied to her about the agreement they made with Aristotle. Even worse, it appears that Sally will discover that Billy told Phyllis Summers the secret. Sally could start to question whether this is the way things will be going forward. Phyllis and Billy will inevitably conceal things and become closer as long as they are working together. This will make Sally jealous, but it will also make her more suspicious of Aristotle. There may be difficulty in their romance because Sally will also have growing trust issues with Billy. After her ordeal with Sharon Newman in captivity, Phyllis will continue to find solace in Billy. Billy can find it tough to establish the right limits, since he doesn't want Phyllis to feel abandoned during a trying moment. Sharon will continue to hold out hope for their initial steps toward peace, because she is currently handling things better than Phyllis. How long Phyllis and Sharon's ceasefire lasts will be interesting to watch. According to other YNR teasers, Martin will plan his next move, but Tracy Abbott's deciphering of the twin impersonation clues may be closing the walls. Will Chancellor discover Alan on the security tape of the hardware store as well, thereby validating Tracy's theory? Given that Alan is purportedly in Paris, will Ashley Abbott be in danger? In any case, Tracy might feel compelled to set Martin up for a trap in order to assist the police in apprehending him. Watch for all the chaos to follow as Jack Abbott worries about the threat Martin still poses. Conflict may arise after Amy Lewis, Nate Hastings, and Damian Kane return from Chicago. Based on Victor Newman's latest updates, Lily Winters and Devon Winters may level some accusations against Damian. But in reality, Victor is using them as part of a cunning scheme. This does not imply that Damian is reliable, but Victor's objective is to entice Aristotle with Devon and Lily. Naturally, Victor is unaware that Aristotle and Billy are hatching a plot of their own, but he might soon learn about it. Aristotle's collaboration with Billy might affect the course of events, even though Victor might forecast more about Billy's failure at Abbott Communications. According to spoilers for The Young and the Restless, the week of March 31st to April 4th will be filled with highs and lows, so be sure to keep watching the CBS serial opera. Eric Braeden of The Young and the Restless is one of the top stars in the daytime industry, so if he sees someone who he believes has the potential to be a star, he will know. The revelation began at the CBS studios, outside his dressing room. Braeden's dressing room door marked 43D, Private Do Not Enter, was knocked on by a woman. Happy 45th anniversary on The Young and the Restless, the Daytime Emmy Award-winning actor said as she responded. For those who didn't know, Braeden's remarkable milestone was celebrated on February 8th by the cast and crew. Anyway, let's go back to the interaction in the hallway. I watch those shows sometimes, he said, recognizing the woman from her connection to the bold and the beautiful. The woman said, "Oh my gosh, I was 7 years old." In response to a discussion about how long he had been with the Genoa city soap opera since 1980. "Just wishing you a happy 45th anniversary." He abruptly nodded as Josh Griffith, his head writer and executive producer, came up the hallway. Braeden then praised Griffith's great teeth, which may help him start a new career, and advised him to quit writing and pursue acting instead. Griffith said, "No, I won't allow it," in response to Braeden's joking that Bold and Beautiful was attempting to lure him over there. But when the head writer left, the woman inquired whether the actor would like to visit the sibling soap opera of Young and Restless. Braeden said, "As Victor Newman, I would for a lot of money." Daniel is still not there, but Phyllis's transformation is underway. According to previews for The Young and the Restless, Phyllis Summers seems to be experiencing mental overload. It would be up to a medical professional to definitively establish whether she experienced a nervous breakdown. It is not a criticism of Stafford's character that Sharon Newman is adapting better than Phyllis to her consecutive kidnappings. In order to get Phyllis to meet with Sharon, Newman offered to do that assessment. Nick executed the humane idea of the talk-out session that started at Crimson Lights. Just a few weeks before, her mother would have been unable to comply, but Summer Newman's presence made it easier for her to do so. Changes underway. Extending Alan Lawrence exposure. Alan Lawrence fled. After Tracy Abbott unintentionally discovered he had gotten several security breach alerts on his smartphone, he took that action. The audience is aware that Alan was the mastermind behind the kidnappings of Sharon and Phyllis. Additionally, fans believe that this guy might be Martin Lawrence, Alan's presumed deceased brother. Maximizing drama is a part of daytime. Therefore, many people were surprised when Alan or Martin texted Tracy to let her know that he had flown home to Paris, France, without her, in order to get ready for the wedding. It's possible that Cousin's character is using this vacation to get rid of any evidence that could implicate him from his Parisian house and workplace. Additionally, he's taking a break to regroup and, presumably, keep playing tricks on everyone. Sharon Newman will be accepted by Phyllis Summers. When Nick and Summer met with Sharon, Phyllis blasted her. However, she was responding in that manner due to mental muscle memory. Phyllis understood that Nick was correct, hence his presentation to her was successful. Since they both went through the same nightmare, Sharon is the only person on Earth who understands Phyllis's feelings. Sharon has started to deal with what happened, though, as seen by her capacity to digest it, and her readiness to travel to Europe with her kids. Because of her background in counseling, Sharon is also a good fit for Phyllis, who needs someone who can relate to her in the same way that Case's character can. The development of Daniel Romalotti. The unexpected encounter between Daniel Romalotti and Sharon turned out to be intriguing. He was affected by what Sharon did for his mother, but he hasn't forgiven her yet for trying to blame him for Heather Stevens' murder. Their loved ones have been, and will continue to be impacted by Sharon and Phyllis's ability to save each other's lives, and their capacity to grow their connection into a lasting peace. When Nick brought up the subject, Phyllis acknowledged that Daniel is the one who needs to recognize that Sharon is not a monster. Martin Blackwood sat in the dim glow of his penthouse office, the city lights flickering beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. A half-empty glass of scotch rested in his hand, the ice long melted. The silence was thick, broken only by the occasional hum of his laptop, as he scrolled through financial reports. Another successful merger. Another company absorbed into his empire. Yet satisfaction eluded him. His phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. You should be more careful about who you trust. Martin's fingers tightened around the glass. He knew that tone, that veiled threat. There was only one person who would dare send him something like that. Sally. He exhaled sharply, tossing the phone onto the desk. She had been quiet for months. Too quiet. And now she was making her move. Chapter 2. A History of Fire and Power. Sally Devereux had been more than just his lover. She had been his equal. Sharp-witted, ruthless, and devastatingly beautiful. She had stood beside him as he built his empire from the ground up. She had been the one to suggest the first hostile takeover. The one who had whispered the names of his enemies in the dark. But power had a way of twisting alliances. Their downfall had been inevitable. A disagreement over a deal, one that should have been minor, had erupted into a full-blown war. Sally had walked out, taking half his best contacts with her. And now she was back. Chapter 3. The First Strike. The next morning, Martin's assistant rushed into his office, her face pale. Sir, there's a problem. Martin barely glanced up. What now? Someone leaked the Kensington deal to the press. The stock is plummeting. His blood ran cold. The Kensington deal had been confidential. Only 3 people knew the details. Himself, his lawyer, and Sally. He grabbed his coat. Cancel my meetings. Chapter 4. The Meeting. The old jazz bar was nearly empty at this hour. Martin spotted her immediately, Sally, sitting in the back booth, a martini in hand. She hadn't changed. Still the same sharp cheekbones, the same knowing smirk. You look good, Martin, she said as he slid into the seat across from her. Cut the pleasantries, he growled. What do you want? She took a slow sip. I want what's mine. You walked away. And you stole from me. Her eyes flashed. That deal was mine, Martin. You knew it. He leaned forward. Business is business. Her smile was ice. Then consider this business. Chapter 5. The game escalates. By the end of the week, 2 of Martin's top executives resigned without explanation. A key investor pulled out. And then the final blow. A video surfaced. Martin in a private meeting discussing less-than-legal strategies. The footage was damning. His lawyers were already scrambling, but the damage was done. The board was calling for emergency meetings. The press was circling like vultures. And Sally, she was nowhere to be found. Chapter 6. The hunt begins. Martin wasn't a man who accepted defeat. If Sally wanted war, he would give her one. He called in every favor, dug into every dark corner of his network. And finally, a lead. Sally had a weakness. A sister, Elena, living quietly in the countryside. A sister she would do anything to protect. Martin smiled. Now we play. Chapter 7. The Trap. Elena's cottage was picturesque. Wooden beams, ivy climbing the walls. Martin watched from his car as she stepped outside, humming as she watered her roses. His phone rang. Unknown caller. He answered. Touch her, and I'll burn your empire to the ground. Sally's voice was deadly calm. Martin chuckled. Then let's talk. Chapter 8. The final move. They met at midnight, on the rooftop where they had first kissed years ago. The wind howled around them. Sally stood with her arms crossed. You always did play dirty. You started this. She shook her head. No, you did. The moment you betrayed me. Martin exhaled. What do you want? Everything. Silence stretched between them. Then, Martin pulled out a flash drive. Here. Every file, every secret. Yours. Sally took it, weighing it in her hand. And in return? You walk away. For good. She studied him, then nodded. Deal. Epilogue. The aftermath. The scandal faded. The board settled. Martin's empire remained standing, but barely. And Sally, she was gone. But Martin knew better than to think it was over. Because in their world, the game never ended.